Hello everybody, it is Ed, and today we are doing another book review. So, today I've got a book called The 12 Rules to Life by Jordan Peterson. So, this is a really cool book that has been somewhat booming lately. It's a really popular nonfiction book, and it's a self-help book, as you can see. 12 Rules to Life, An Antidote to Chaos. So, Jordan Peterson has become somewhat famous recently, and so he's written a book to kind of write off that fame a little bit, and has become a super duper huge bestseller. So I decided to pick it up, and I really like this book. It's all about he talks a lot about Jordan Peterson. He's a university professor, I believe at UFT or somewhere in Canada, but probably UFT. He's also a clinical psychologist, so he's good at this kind of stuff. So he knows. As a psychologist, he knows what people's minds are like, and he talks about sorting through kind of what's going through your mind in this book. So, as it says, there's 12 chapters, or 12 important points anyway, that he talks a lot about and discusses. Now, I really like this book. It's not too long. It was only 350 or so pages. Yeah, only 350 or so pages, and it only took me 2 weeks. Which is long for me. Which is short for me because I take forever. The words themselves inside the book, it's somewhat compact. So there's a lot of words in it, even though it's only 300 pages. So it did take me a little bit of time, like 2 weeks, like I said before. But it felt like a fast read. It felt like I was getting through it quite quickly. I tried to read one or like half of a chapter every single week, or every single day, and try to get it done that way. So it worked well. I liked it a lot. It was very interesting to see it from a clinical psychologist's perspective. See life and how somewhat complicated it is, and how he goes through sorting through that kind of stuff. I really like this book because it changed my outlook on what society is like. Because going through it, he talks a lot about society and how we need to become part of the society, how it's so important to become functional members of society. So I remember the first one that really resonated with me. It was, it's rule number 1, and it is all about how you need to keep your shoulders straight, and you need to, keep your shoulders straight. Hold on, give me a second. It's stand them straight with your shoulders back, as you can see right here. You can't really see it. Yeah, there it is. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. So in this, he goes through an anecdote of talking about how lobsters have a very distinct social chain, where they try to face off against each other, and whoever wins gets higher status, and so on like that. He talks about how humans need to keep up their back straight, somehow relating it after going through the entire anecdote, and he relates it in the end to how humans need to feel and act like we're at the top of the chain, even if we're not. Lobsters, like he said, were the very distinguished ones. They're always standing up with their back straight. They're always showing off that they are at the top of the chain. And so if you act that way, it also goes into your mind that you are that way. So he talks about how you should try to get out of the bottom and stuff like that, all about society. So that gives a very good idea of what the general aura of the book is about. So it's a very simple book talking about. It's not very simple, but it's very somewhat easy to digest, going through how to evolve and how to learn in society. My favorite chapter was about how to raise kids, which is very interesting for me because it talks a lot about what you need to teach them. Where does good parenting start and where does bad parenting start, and stuff like that. So it's very interesting to see where he draws the line as a proper psychologist. And it went along very well. At times he goes in very philosophically. So he goes in to talk about what is good and what is chaos and what is order. That's a very common thing that he kept referencing throughout the book. What is chaos and what is order? How do we keep both of these things in our life? And getting through it, how do we look at both of these things? All that kind of stuff. He goes through that, so it's very interesting in that way as well, because he talks very philosophically. And if you're not paying attention, and if you're just sitting there reading it just for fun, you might just kind of doze off a little bit, and then you'll be completely lost, which is really annoying. It's happened to me, but so I just go back a few pages. You really need to be paying attention to get what's in this book, because he uses a lot of big words. If I just flip through, how many times had he betrayed himself and lied? Was there any way that the sins of his past could be rectified, atoned for in the muddy hell of the Soviet gulag? So simply there alone, it's not very immediately easy to understand. So you would want to slow down, go through it easily, go through it very focused. He references the Bible a lot in the later chapters, which is interesting. I've never read the Bible. I might do that at some point. But it gives you a very good idea of how this stuff has been happening, or this stuff has been kind of known for centuries or millennia. It's been known forever, and it's just kind of more recently being organized and told to the public in this way. It's very interesting to see that kind of stuff. I really liked it. I think all 12 rules for the life have been very interesting. I think there's one or two that I really that I hated completely. So I can't give this a perfect, because not all of them really apply to me, or not all of them caught my interest, but most of them were just spot on, and it taught me something about life. So that's very interesting. That's awesome. I like that part. So I would rate this book a good old 4 out of 5. I loved it, but there were some really terrible chapters that I hated the idea of. I think I'm not going to go through them right now, because I don't want to get your mind set on these chapters and understand that they're horrible. But one of them was, I believe, 30 pages long, or 60 pages long, maybe. Those are his longer chapters, and I really didn't like one of the really long chapters. I'm not going to let you guys know which one. So, if you've read this book, let me know in the comments down below. Tell me what you thought. Leave a like if you like this video, and subscribe if you want to see future reviews. Let me, ask me any questions in the comments that you want. It was a good read for me, and I would definitely recommend it to someone who wants to go more philosophically into what constitutes good and chaos, and what's all the philosophical aspects of society and how you should act. Things like that. And I really liked it. It was awesome. And thank you guys for watching. So, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.